Yes, welcome everyone. Cannabis News. I'm your host, Joe Klare. It is April 2nd, 2019. The show, as always, is presented by the Marijuana Times. Check us out at marijuanatimes.org. Click the video tab to find this show. Bunch of great articles there as well. marijuanatimes.org. If you want the swag, awesomeness that is this hat and other hats and mugs and such, makecannabisgreatagain.com. Go check it out. Today we're talking about an activist in Norwood, Ohio, who was instrumental in getting decriminalization passed in 2018. Now is running for city council. Also some medical marijuana updates, at least some legislation-wise in Texas. And Los Angeles County is set to expunge many marijuana convictions. All of that coming up. First, of course, Cannabis News is brought to you by NatureSide, nature-side.com, and their organic, all-natural pesticides. If you are growing cannabis in a state where it's legal, you want to be regulatory compliant, you don't want to use banned pesticides, you want to grow safe and poison-free and not use harmful chemicals on what you are growing, you can accomplish all of these things with NatureSide, nature-side.com, a proud sponsor of Cannabis News. Go check them out. This first story by yours truly at marijuanatimes.org. Activist behind Norwood, Ohio marijuana decriminalization, running for city council, Amy Wolfenbarger. I got a chance to talk with her. She's been involved in activism in the Norwood area and in Ohio for quite a while. She was part of the groups getting behind, part of the push behind Ohio medical marijuana, and then tried to get decriminalization on the Norwood ballot in 2016, but was unable to do that. Did get it on the ballot in 2018, where decriminalization of less than 200 grams of cannabis possession did pass via ballot in Norwood, Ohio. In November of 2018, Amy said to the Marijuana Times, quote, "Never once did I think I would ever be here running for an elected position." She has Facebook pages and such. All the relevant links are within the story that I'm talking about now, and all the stories I talk about on the show, of course, are linked in the description of the video in which they are discussed. She said, after Sensible Norwood was denied ballot placement in 2016, I decided to embed myself within the community. Soon after, I rallied the community and prevented a ban on cannabis businesses. I started attending and speaking at city council meetings, all as a strategy to get the Sensible Norwood initiative to ballot and passed. The strategy worked. However, police are ignoring the new law while council and administration play the blame game. Also, in doing this, I began taking notice of the many issues that exist in our city. I developed a passion for our city, but more importantly, our community. Our citizens don't feel heard, and I want to change that. For those of you who may not know, I went to college for 2 years, the ITT Technical Institute in Norwood, Ohio. I consumed a lot of cannabis in Norwood, Ohio, probably more than most cities in the world. If I made a list of the cities that I consume the most cannabis in, Norwood is probably second, third maybe, probably second. The city I'm currently in, of course, would be number one. Oh, wow. I haven't moved much. I'm kind of in the same little section of the world, which cannabis-wise is not the greatest section of the world, but we manage. Anyway, go check out Amy, especially if you're in Norwood. As I point out in the article, people like Amy are the people we don't hear about. They're fighting locally, they're doing things locally, and they're getting things done, and they're getting change, real change that people can see, at least when, the law is followed. So check that story out, spread the word, all of that. Amy Wolfenbarger in Norwood, Ohio. Good luck to her. Continue to update you on that story and how she fares in the election in Ward 4 in Norwood, Ohio. This next story is from KUT.org. Texas House could pass bills reducing marijuana penalties this session. The Senate is another story. Interesting state, Texas, of course. Traditionally, I guess, conservative, the home of George W. Bush, although they have elected, Democratic governors and such, and Democratic senators in the past, but also obviously a very populous, massive state, size-wise and population-wise. A lot of people in need of medical cannabis and the help that they can provide in Texas. This week, 9 bills concerning marijuana and hemp are set for public hearing. And of course, in the shows to come, we will update you if there is any updates to give on those bills. In a session where more than 7,000 bills have been filed, Night on cannabis could seem like a small thing, but just a few years ago, getting a hearing for even a single bill on the issue would have been unthinkable. This session, more than 60 bills relating to marijuana and hemp have been filed. Jax Finkel, who's the executive director of Texas Normal, said it's the most she's seen in the legislature since she started volunteering for the cannabis activist group in 2005, when only 2 bills were filed. Obviously, there's a long way to go in Texas, but if you live in Texas, get a hold of your rep, your state senator, whoever, make your voice heard and let them know that you support marijuana law reform and that you'd like them to participate in getting this done. Jack said, but now we see this session, we've jumped to 60 bills having to do with cannabis in some way, whether it be medical, penalty reduction, or hemp. So that is a huge jump upward, even from last session, where we had over a dozen bills, but nowhere near 60. She said her group's efforts aren't just focused on expanding medical marijuana or growing hemp, which can be used for a number of things, including thread. We need to stop criminalizing people for low-level amounts of marijuana possession, Finkel said, and that is supported in the Republican and Democratic platforms, so this is a bipartisan effort. So a lot going on in Texas. Again, if you live in Texas, make your voice heard. A lot of people in need of medical marijuana. I dare say millions of people in Texas that could benefit from medical cannabis, but it needs to be done via the legislature, which means you have to make a lot of noise. Be very annoying. Carrier pigeon, telegraph, letter, email, tweet, Facebook message. You know the drill. Communication. Get to it. This last story from RollingStone.com. Los Angeles set to reduce or expunge 50,000, that's right, 50,000 marijuana convictions. Nearly 50,000 people who have been convicted of marijuana-related offenses will have their convictions erased or reduced, according to a statement from the District Attorney of Los Angeles County. In partnership with Code for America, a nonprofit tech organization, Los Angeles County will identify decades-old court cases that it would otherwise have been unable to find. Using this technology, it will remove marijuana convictions altogether or reduce felony sentences to misdemeanors. This collaboration will improve people's lives by erasing the mistakes of their past and hopefully lead them on a path to a better future, said LA County District Attorney Jackie Lacey in a statement. Helping to clear the path by reducing or dismissing cannabis convictions can result in someone securing a job or benefiting from other programs they may have been unavailable to them in the past. The district attorney for San Joaquin County, Tori Verber Salazar, also announced that her county would work with Code for America to erase nearly 4,000 marijuana-related offenses from the public record. There was another city that did this. They may mention it in the article. I don't remember. It didn't ring a bell. But I've talked about Code for America before on the show and their ability to dig in when it comes to expungement and get sentences, reduced or cleared from criminal records. It's it's another necessary part, as I've said, of marijuana legalization. The people who have been convicted in the past under laws that no longer are in effect, they should no longer be punished for having committed that quote-unquote crime. All nonviolent marijuana offenders, cannabis offenders, growers, sellers, whatever, if that's their only charge, if they have no other reason to be in jail or prison or have a criminal record other than a non-violent marijuana offense, then their record should be cleared. Absolutely, in case my opinion on that wasn't clear. Huh? Come on. I did that on the fly. You gotta give me that. Thanks everybody for checking out the show, spreading the word and the truth about cannabis with this show. Check us out at marijuanatimes.org. Also, you can search the Marijuana Times on Apple Podcasts to find the audio-only version of the show. We're also on YouTube, of course, now over 2,000 subscribers. Make sure you click that little notification bell to know when a new episode of Cannabis News has dropped. Thank you to Natureside, nature-side.com, and their organic, all-natural pesticides. Thank you for watching and listening today. And we'll see you next time right here on Cannabis News.